The payments industry worldwide is undergoing a tremendous transformation. Many of you probably come from banks where the need for managing the increase in payments, the need to look for revenue in payments, as well as the need to deal with risk in payments is causing you to think a lot about how you need to integrate your back end and think about the architecture of your payments business. I'm very pleased to be able to speak today with Ralph Dangelmaier, the President of Global Markets and Services for ACI Worldwide, and Jeremy Wilmot, the President for Asia Pacific of ACI Worldwide. These two gentlemen have been in the payments industry for a very long time, and we want to ask them how their business has been going on and how that's been mirroring the development taking place in the payments industry. Where is the opportunity in payments today, and what do you think is happening in terms of the revenue proposition that is coming through in payments?
Sure. I think there's a couple opportunities. The first being an opportunity to increase revenues for the banks. There's been a big push to, obviously given the downturn in the economic crisis, to balance the income of the banks, and payments fee income is a huge opportunity. The second opportunity is because the payments growth has been increasing so much, the opportunity to cut cost and reduce cost in the bank is a big opportunity for the institutions right now, and that's been a lot of what we've been focusing on.
Around the world, various research reports say that the number of transactions have gone up, but not necessarily the revenue proposition. And if you look at ACI's own performance in the last year, revenue is challenged, and I would imagine the same for the banks themselves. So what do you think is happening, Ralph?
Well, there's a lot of contradicting research out there about whether revenue is going up, whether it's flat, or whether it's going down. Our research shows that the revenue is slightly going up, but the number of transactions is going up higher. So the cost of that transaction is going up faster than the revenue is going up, which is putting pressure on the institutions to do something. You can't continually patch your old systems. You've got to think of a new way of doing things, which has come up with this concept of payment hubs, which is a more efficient way of making distributing payments for the institution.
Jeremy, give me a sense of whether you're seeing banks in Asia starting to make payments a revenue stream, a recognized revenue stream on their balance sheet.
Since I've been here for about 3 years now, and I haven't seen the same focus on a individual single P&L within payments within a bank, and having a payment czar or a payment P&L owner on the executive management of the board. I saw that in Europe, and particularly in Spain. Santander Bank was one of the leading banks in that. Where they have a single executive that reports to Emilio Bottin, and he can see the entire P&L of the business. And if you look at a top 50 global bank, anywhere between 30 and 50% of their revenues is payments related. So it's a very key aspect of the business. I think the banks in Asia know that. But they haven't necessarily structured around that because of the exponential growth, the different challenges that they're facing in terms of getting the unbanked banked, and just keeping up with the very high growth rate.
So keeping up with the high growth rates would mean that they are spending more and more on payments, which means that they would probably have a very fractured back end. Do you see that, or do you see banks starting to discipline the back end and start to, as Ralph was saying, create hubs so that they can manage the cost of transactions?
I mean, the first point I think we should make is that Asia is a conglomerate of very different markets. So Japan is a very advanced, mature payments market, as is Korea. And ASEAN is a growing market, emerging market, as is India and China. So we can't lump them all into one. But in general, the more developing payments markets will have a more fragmented back end than the more mature markets. And in Australia, you'll find the top 4 banks have done a lot of work in terms of implementing payment hubs, simplifying their systems and reducing their cost per transaction.